Akoben is an Adinkra symbol representing a war horn used to sound a battle cry. It signifies vigilance, readiness for action, and wariness. The horn, called Abeng itself, is a call to arms and serves as a powerful reminder to be alert and prepared for any challenges or threats. The symbolism of Akoben is deeply rooted in the Akan culture's emphasis on preparedness, resilience, and the importance of being vigilant in the face of adversity. The conch shell was also used in a similar manner to the abeng by the Akans of Ghana as an instrument to call and mobilize. When blown, the conch shell's deep, resonant sound could be heard over long distances, signaling important gatherings, ceremonies, or alerts. These two powerful instruments were found in the hands of the Maroons, the warrior communities in the hills and mountains of Jamaica, during their rebellions against European enslavers. Most of Maroons trace their lineage back to Akan ethnicity. Majority of Akans are found in Ghana, with others in the Côte d'Ivoire and Togo in the West African subregion. Subgroups include Agona, Aquapim, Akwamu, Anyi, Ashanti, Fanti, Nzema, Baoli, Bono, Denchire, among others. In the lush mountainous regions of Jamaica, a land rich with forests, cascading waterfalls, and hidden valleys. This was the home of the Maroons, a group of courageous enslaved Africans who escaped from plantations and built their own independent communities. At the heart of their struggle for freedom was a remarkable leader, Queen Nanny, revered not just as a warrior but as a spiritual leader and guardian of her people. In the early 1700s, Nanny was born in West Africa. She was a member of the Akan ethnicity, known for their fierce warriors, military prowess, and rich cultural heritage. From a young age, Nanny showed signs of leadership, courage, and wisdom. She was trained in the ways of her ancestors, learning the art of war, herbal medicine, and spiritual practices. As a young woman, Nanny was captured by European slave traders and forcibly taken to Jamaica. Despite the harsh conditions of the Middle Passage and the brutality of plantation life, Nanny never lost her spirit. Along with her brothers, she escaped from the plantation and fled into the dense mountains, where they joined other runaway slaves. In the Blue Mountains of Jamaica, Nanny and her brothers, Akompong Kojo, Kwako, Cuffy, established Nanny Town, a settlement that would become a symbol of resistance and resilience. The Maroons built their villages in locations that were difficult to access, surrounded by natural defenses. They cultivated the land, grew crops, and lived in harmony with nature. Queen Nanny was a master of guerrilla warfare. She trained her warriors in ambush tactics, camouflage, and the use of the terrain to their advantage. The dense forests and steep hills of the Blue Mountains provided perfect cover for surprise attacks. The British, with their rigid military formations, were ill prepared for the Maroons' hit-and-run tactics. Nanny's wisdom, bravery, and deep spiritual connection to her ancestors quickly set her apart as a leader. She became the Oba, or queen, of her people, guiding them not only in times of peace, but also in their struggle against the British. Under her leadership, the Maroons organized themselves into a formidable force. Frustrated by their inability to defeat the Maroons, the British launched several campaigns to capture Nanny Town and subdue the Maroons. They burned villages, destroyed crops, and tried to cut off the Maroons' supplies. But Queen Nanny's strategic brilliance and the Maroons' intimate knowledge of the land enabled them to evade capture and continue their resistance. One of the most famous victories attributed to Queen Nanny was the Battle of Old Nanny Town. Using her keen strategic mind, she led a successful ambush against the British soldiers. The Maroons, hidden in the trees and foliage, rained arrows and bullets upon the British forces, driving them into disarray. This victory solidified her status as a legendary leader. Nanny's strategies included poisoning British supplies and using camouflage for ambushes. Her knowledge of medicinal plants was legendary, used for healing and warfare alike. Queen Nanny was not just a warrior, she was also a spiritual leader. She communicated with her ancestors through rituals and prayers, seeking their guidance and protection. It is said that she could catch bullets with her hands and that her spiritual powers helped shield her people from harm. Her connection to the spirit world inspired her warriors and gave them the courage to fight against overwhelming odds. It's estimated that Nanny freed over 800 slaves through her organized plantation raids. Under Queen Nanny's leadership, African customs and languages thrived, preserving a rich cultural heritage. Most of the victories against the British were celebrated with African music and dance, echoing through the valleys of the Blue Mountains. These celebrations were not merely acts of joy, but powerful affirmations of identity and resilience. Drumming sessions filled the air with rhythmic beats, calling upon the spirits of their ancestors and invoking a sense of unity and strength among the Maroons. There were storytelling sessions where elders shared tales of Africa with the young, emphasizing the importance of unity and lineage. These cultural practices were vital in maintaining the community's morale and cohesion. They reminded the Maroons of their heritage and the sacrifices made for their freedom. Around evening fires, the elders would gather the children and recount the stories of their ancestors. They spoke of great kings and queens, mighty warriors, and the rich traditions of their homeland. After decades of conflict, the British finally realized that they could not defeat the Maroons through force. In 1739, they negotiated a peace treaty with the Maroons. The treaty granted the Maroons their freedom and autonomy, allowing them to govern themselves and live in peace. Queen Nanny's leadership and the indomitable spirit of her people had secured their independence. The treaty was a landmark agreement, marking the first time the British acknowledged the sovereignty of the Maroons. It included provisions that allowed the Maroons to own their land, govern their communities, and continue their cultural practices without interference. With the treaty in place, the Maroons could finally focus on building and strengthening their communities without the constant threat of war. Queen Nanny united all the Maroons' communities. They continued to cultivate their lands, grow crops, and live in harmony with nature. The peace treaty allowed them to thrive, and their settlements flourished. Queen Nanny's legacy lived on as a testament to the power of resistance and the importance of fighting for one's freedom. She remained a revered figure among the Maroons, her story passed down through generations as a symbol of courage and perseverance. Queen Nanny's strategic brilliance and unwavering determination had forced the British to recognize the strength and resilience of the Maroons. Her leadership ensured that the terms of the treaty were favorable to her people, protecting their hard-won freedom and way of life. The Maroons' continued existence as a free people in Jamaica is a living tribute to Queen Nanny's vision and determination. Her story remains a powerful reminder of the impact that one courageous leader can have on the course of history.